Hello and welcome to my channel. I hope you enjoy the story. I'm going to try and upload a new story each day. The phantom ship of Desolation Bay. The storm had raged for days, a relentless fury of wind and rain that seemed to have no end. The once proud ship, the SS Horizon, had been tossed about like a child's toy, its crew and passengers at the mercy of the merciless sea. But as the tempest finally began to relent, hope flickered in the eyes of the survivors. They had endured, and now they clung to life, clinging to the wreckage that remained of their ship. Desolation Bay, a name that had never seemed more fitting, lay before them. It was a desolate place, a remote stretch of coastline surrounded by jagged cliffs that seemed to scrape the very sky. It was as if nature itself had conspired to keep the bay hidden from the world, and now it held them captive. As the survivors waded ashore, cold and exhausted, they couldn't help but feel a sense of relief. The bay was sheltered from the worst of the storm, and they hoped they might find some semblance of safety here. But as they looked around, they realized they were truly alone. There were no signs of civilization, no houses or buildings in sight, only the endless expanse of rocky shore and towering cliffs. Desperation set in as the group of survivors huddled together, trying to come up with a plan. With the shipwrecked horizon now just a distant memory, they had no choice but to search for shelter on the land. It was then that someone spotted it, a dark silhouette in the distance. A ship anchored in the bay. At first, the survivors couldn't believe their luck. It was as if their prayers had been answered. A cruise ship, massive and majestic, lay before them. It was called the SS Elysium, a name that seemed to promise paradise. As they approached the ship, their initial excitement gave way to unease. The Elysium appeared to be deserted. No crew members lined the deck, and no passengers milled about. The only sign of life was the soft creaking of the ship as it rocked gently in the water. Caution gave way to curiosity, and the survivors decided to board the vessel. Maybe the crew and passengers had abandoned the ship, leaving it as a potential sanctuary for others in need. The gangplank was lowered, and they cautiously stepped aboard. The interior of the Elysium was a stark contrast to its grand exterior. It was dimly lit, and an eerie silence hung in the air. The walls were adorned with faded paintings of opulent banquets and carefree passengers, but the reality was starkly different. Dust covered every surface, and cobwebs clung to the corners. As they explored deeper into the ship, the survivors noticed an odd sensation. It was as if they were being watched, an unsettling feeling that sent shivers down their spines. The ship's grand ballroom was the first place they encountered something truly disturbing. An elegant chandelier swayed gently, despite the absence of wind, and a ghostly figure in a tattered tuxedo danced alone in the center of the room. The survivors stumbled back, fear coursing through their veins. The apparition turned to them with hollow eyes, its face a mask of sorrow. It beckoned them to join the dance, its movements slow and mournful. Panic erupted among the survivors as they fled the ballroom, but the ship seemed to conspire against them. Corridors twisted and turned, leading them in circles. Doors slammed shut on their own, trapping them in narrow hallways. And always, the haunting presence of the ship's spectral crew lurked in the shadows, their eyes devoid of life. It became clear that the SS Elysium was no refuge. It was a vessel of the damned, a ship that had sailed the seas for centuries, collecting lost souls to join its spectral ranks. The survivors were not its first victims, nor would they be the last. As they fought to escape the ship's malevolent grip, they encountered other ghostly passengers and crew members, each with their own tragic tale of how they had met their end. Some had perished in storms, others in accidents, but all were bound to the ship, unable to find peace. Desolation Bay had earned its name for a reason. It was a place where the lost and forsaken were condemned to wander for all eternity. The survivors, it seemed, were destined to join the crew of the SS Elysium, forever trapped in a nightmare of endless torment. As the ship continued to twist and turn, its ghostly crew closing in, the survivors clung to the hope that they might find a way to break the curse. But in Desolation Bay, hope was a fleeting illusion, and the phantom ship sailed on, its spectral crew adding new members to their ranks with each passing night. Days turned into weeks, and the survivors' hope waned. They had become prisoners of the SS Elysium, ensnared in a never-ending nightmare. Their attempts to escape had proven futile, as the ship seemed to shift and change, trapping them within its labyrinthine corridors. The malevolent crew continued to haunt every step, their pale faces and hollow eyes a constant reminder of the ship's cursed existence. Despite their dire situation, the survivors refused to give up. They spent their days scouring the ship for any clues that might lead to their salvation. They discovered logs and journals left behind by previous ill-fated passengers, detailing the horrors they had endured. It was clear that the SS Elysium was a vessel of death, a spectral prison that claimed souls for its crew with every passing year. One chilling entry spoke of a cursed amulet, rumored to hold the key to breaking the ship's curse. It was said to be hidden deep within the bowels of the ship, guarded by the most malevolent of spirits. The survivors, desperate for a way out, decided to embark on a perilous journey to find the amulet and put an end to their torment. Armed with makeshift weapons and fueled by determination, they delved deeper into the haunted ship, facing ever more terrifying apparitions. They encountered the ghostly captain, a sinister figure with a skeletal grin, who commanded his spectral crew to defend their cursed vessel. As the survivors fought their way through the ship's eerie depths, they witnessed the tragic stories of the ship's crew and passengers unfold before their eyes. They saw the lovers who had been torn apart by a jealous rival, the child who had perished in a tragic accident, and the gambler who had lost his soul in a high-stakes game with the devil. At last, after what felt like an eternity of battles and horrors, they reached the heart of the ship. In a hidden chamber shrouded in darkness, they found the cursed amulet. It pulsed with a malevolent energy, its dark power palpable. But as they reached for it, the amulet sprung to life, its malevolent spirit manifesting before them. A titanic battle ensued, the survivors fighting with all their might against the malevolent force that guarded the amulet. Their determination and the strength of their collective will allowed them to overcome the dark entity, shattering the amulet into pieces. As the amulet shattered, the SS Elysium quaked and groaned, as if in agony. The ship's spectral crew wailed in torment, their forms dissipating into ethereal mist. The survivors knew they had succeeded, that they had broken the curse that bound the ship and its malevolent crew to Desolation Bay. With the curse lifted, the SS Elysium began to crumble and fade away, slowly returning to the depths of the sea from which it had emerged. The survivors, battered and weary, watched as the ship disappeared into the mist, taking with it the horrors they had endured. As the first rays of dawn broke over Desolation Bay, the survivors found themselves on the rocky shore once more. But this time they were free. The malevolent ship was gone, its curse lifted, and they were no longer haunted by its spectral crew. They had survived the ordeal of the phantom ship of Desolation Bay, a nightmarish journey through a world of death and despair. With newfound gratitude for life and the bonds formed during their harrowing ordeal, they vowed to never forget the horrors they had faced, and to cherish the gift of freedom that had been so nearly lost in the depths of their cursed vessel. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this story. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.